No, brown cow.
Unique New York. Unique New York.
Oh boy. Welcome to just this wonderful time where we get to talk Final Fantasy as friends,
It's family.
as whatever else. This is I Want to Be
Your Canary.
a Final Fantasy podcast. I'm Cullen. This is Ross. This is Scooter. We're all homies who like to talk about Final Fantasy.
And this is going to be a good episode.
Oh yeah, it is. This is actually episode number 10. This is double digits. We
made it.
We have eclipsed into the double digits of episodes.
Man, look
I'm
at us.
I'm stoked.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm stoked about this episode. There are so many great moments in Final Fantasy that are captured when we're not actually playing.
Indeed.
And we call those cutscenes.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things about this series.
And we were talking, or maybe we were texting, I'm not sure. We were saying, gosh, there's so many good cutscenes. We got to do an episode on cutscenes, and probably one that we're probably going to look back and say, oh, shoot, should have had that one in there. Should have had that one in there.
Oh, for sure.
So what we've done, we've all chose pretty much 3 that we really liked, and to avoid this from being a 3-hour episode of going, oh yeah, and remember that cutscene? Oh, remember that cutscene?
Yeah.
So we've kind of taken some of our favorites, and I know that if we were to really flesh out this list, they would probably, these top 3 would be probably in our top 10. But after further review, maybe not in our top 3. So this is kind of a rough hit of our favorites, right?
No, these are still pretty home run kind of hits, though.
These are essentially my top 3.
Okay.
Pretty darn close.
That's confident.
Now, don't spoil them yet. Don't list them off yet, because I'm excited to.
I almost did.
I know. I caught you there. All right.
Well, Ross, I believe that this is your top 3 because your mind is just a steel trap.
It is.
You remember so much, just like
Such useful information.
yeah,
Final Fantasy cutscenes, dates.
other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Ramses' birthday.
Ramses' birthday.
You're kind of weird, Ross.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So how we're doing this one is kind of we can talk about the cutscenes, and we will. Some of them are going to we're going to be able to play them, and the audio is going to, come through the speaker, and you're going to, oh yeah, that one. And other ones you're just going to have to talk through because you're not going to be able to, if we put it up on the screen, it would just be silence.
Yep.
Or, music that, it just isn't very telling of the cutscene itself. So we're going to kind of do this in a couple of different ways. The types of cutscenes that you can get information from based on some dialogue or very specific music, and that might trigger some nostalgic memory, we're going to try and do. But we're also going to talk through some of these cutscenes and why we liked them or why we didn't. So that's kind of, if I understand, how we're doing this. And we've all picked a couple. So who is going to start this grand adventure?
I think we're starting with you.
Are we starting?
man.
Oh, we are starting with me.
I think,
It's
I
right
think
up
you
there.
might be on the docket.
Okay, so the music, the first 2 seconds of music in this one would cue everybody into it. And before you start this one, it's funny because I just watched it, and in my head, it is a flawless CGI masterpiece.
It's funny how rose-colored glasses will do that.
Oh my goodness. And watching it again, I feel like I'm watching Gumby in the way that the characters
Some
move.
claymation.
Some claymation, stop motion animation. And that's the funny thing about these is how we remember them.
Yes.
Because the way that I remember this is not at all how it looks. And the way that I remember it is just so like smooth and just rad, and something that 32-year-old, man, I did that the other day. 32-year-old Cullen goes, holy smokes, that looks clean. You know, but 12-year-old Cullen was like, holy smokes, this looks clean. And it's the Final Fantasy VII Crazy Motorcycle Chase. So the first 2 seconds, you'll be able to hear it right away.
Here we go.
Just the blockiest animation.
I love this music.
Cloud's, you know, he's got that big old motorcycle.
They're all escaping the Shinra.
They're all getting out of Shinra. He's got this big old motorcycle. They jump into this like truck
cart
thing. I don't even know. Barrett's in the back, and the Red 13 jumps in. They're tearing out of Shinra right now. And I just remember thinking, like, man, Cloud is so cool.
He hopped on the motorcycle and
Oh, dude,
just tearing through walls and
oh yeah, I just thought.
busting through windows.
And so right here, boom, and then it hits the ground, and then boom, he's off.
And going from 8-bit to this,
Yeah, or 16-bit
or
rather.
16-bit, pardon me, sorry me.
Yeah, so going from, and then it turns into like a mini game, which, you know, the cinematic graphic is no longer an element, but it kind of turns into a game, which is cool. But I remember, and I talked about this, I think, in a couple of episodes before. I always wanted to download this like onto, because we had laptops when I was a kid. Then we had a laptop program where I went to school and learned about the basics of Office and, you know, that kind of stuff. It was a total scam, and, you know, looking back, but I remember just trying to find this to download this. And this is a time before you could actually download videos, and they had this as a media file or anything like that.
Yeah.
But this was.
You just wanted to see this again.
If I could have watched this for 24 hours straight as a kid, I absolutely would have. I just thought it was so cool. I thought the music was so cool. I literally thought that this would just make me cool. Like, if girls that I liked watch this, they'd be like, oh man, what a cool guy he is.
I like
Look at the
you.
stuff he likes. Whoa.
So bad.
Oh man, I just, you know, in retrospect, just a goofball. But yeah, I just thought this. I thought, who wouldn't think this is rad?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't think that this is so cool? And this is one of the things that I hope that they just knock out of the park with the remake.
Yeah, absolutely. This motorcycle scene, I feel like will be an early part of the game, no matter
Yeah,
what.
there's a lot of opportunity with this part.
Yeah, and it's going to be a climactic point. I hope they nail the mechanics, because I don't know if you remember playing this bit. It was kind of clunky, but fun, you know.
This is going to be the end of the episode 1.
Yeah, right. As long as they do it right. Yeah.
That's it.
$60 right there.
There it is.
$60.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
So cool. But I always enjoyed Final Fantasy VII Crazy Motorcycle Chase. It's funny how different I remember it, based realistically how clunky it is. I just remember it being so smooth and just flawless, and it's not. I mean, it's not even close. But you know, that's no fault of the PlayStation or the graphics. It's just that was the best they had at the time.
They're pushing the limits there, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, just so cool. Really enjoy it. It just makes me so happy.
That little stop right before the end of the freeway.
Yeah,
ramp, and
you gotta
the
fight the,
with the that mech thing, and
yeah. But that's one of my all-time favorites of just great nostalgic factor right there. If nothing else, just that music.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, no, as soon as you hear that music, you're amped, you know. So
Oh yeah. All right, who's next?
Ross, are you up?
I guess I'm up.
Is that what's on the screen over there, I guess?
Yeah, that is what's up on the screen right there.
Okay.
So this one is iconic because just the way it starts out. It's like a 2-part cutscene. I mean, it opens up and all chaos is breaking loose. You're just having a nice blitzball game. You think everything's going well. You're like, hey, I got Titus. I'm gonna win this thing. And then fiends are everywhere in Luca, and they're just wreaking havoc on the blitzball tournament. And lo and behold, you get saved by Anima. You see Anima for the first time, and it is just this gruesome beast of a summon. with a bloody eye, blood streaming down their face. And Anima, for those of you who have not played Final Fantasy X, is like a oyster and a clam combined with a woman combined with like this monstrosity. It's like a chimera of sorts. It's really weird.
Really strange the first
Really
time you see it.
strange
Yeah.
thing, and
But
then
I
it's
love
like
it.
it's two beans in one. There's
love
the
it.
above
yeah,
ground one,
yeah,
then the
yeah.
below ground
Yep.
overdrive version
Yep,
of
the
Anima.
unleashed version.
The unleashed version.
Unchained.
And just, I mean, Orin's part in this cutscene is awesome too. I love the part where he just reaches up the sky and takes out his blade and just, oh my gosh, it just gets you going. But just the part of this that I love the most is just Anima using Anima's abilities and that's just destroying fiends left and right.
Here we go.
Let's play it. Ross, can you even a narration for those who are not as fortunate?
I can. So Seymour is summoning Anima right now.
To
The
save
fiends are
Luca.
to save Luca. The fiends are running all over the place. People are dying. And from the depths,
A chain.
a chain reaches through the depths and pulls out Anima. Just what would you describe that as? Just this beast.
Is that looks like
Has tusks and like
Mother
arms.
Mary or something?
Mother Mary.
That's gnarly.
And its ability essentially blasts fiends with its eye.
I love it.
They just disintegrate.
It just makes no sense whatsoever, but it is such a beautiful scene. It's almost sad in a way. It's very melancholy. I mean, it's playing the Hem of the Fate. So I don't know, it has this heavy tone to it, this ominous tone to
Hard contrast.
it. Definitely a hard contrast.
It also looks like it's painful for Anima.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which
Because
I think, yeah,
the
it
move
definitely
is
is.
called pain.
Yeah, the move is called Pain. Yeah.
It's sacrificing itself every time it kills a fiend.
And again, there's that blood dripping from its eye. It's like you leave the scene not knowing what to think. It's like, huh. It's like those people were saved, but that didn't feel like a
Justice.
good thing. Yeah.
It didn't feel like something I want to support.
Yeah.
I love that scene. The first time I saw it, immediately I feel like you guys the same way too. It's I want that.
I was like, I want that summon.
I want that summon, and you get it. That's what blew my mind in that game is that you had the chance to get that summon.
See, that part of the game also, you're still really something isn't right with
Yeah.
Seymour.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so there's a part of it where you go, okay, that's cool, but I don't know about Seymour. And that could be bad because that might mean if Seymour goes the direction that I think he might, I could end up having to fight this thing.
Yeah.
This could become a future problem for me.
He's actually one of my, I don't know if I'd say one of my favorite villains, but I actually really liked him as a villain.
I'm Mount Gugazet.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Brutal indeed.
Yeah, so that is a good in the way that the summon transitions into the cutscene is even though you can really tell the difference in the graphic quality from one to the other, the way that it goes from the lower quality to the cutscene is like, oh man,
yeah.
like holy smokes, it's pretty flawless. I thought of another cutscene where I'm like, oh, I need to do that one. Yeah, all right, Scooter.
There are rules.
Rules are meant to be
3
broken.
per.
This one is short and sweet to start with. The scene out of Final Fantasy VII.
Give us a little background really quick.
So yeah, you're gonna need a little bit with this one. So there is a famous scene out of Final Fantasy VII cutscene. After your party, it's not quite midway through the game, but getting kind of close to that part of this game. You return to the town of what's the name again, Colin?
Nibelhelm.
Nibelheim. Thank
Nibelheim.
you. Nibelheim. And it's the old town of Tifa where she grew up. Cloud had been there before, or so he thinks. And if you played Crisis Core, and the whole Zack story, this town is super important in this game as far as how the story goes. And this is the part of the story where Sephiroth is also there in the town, and you're all kind of doing this tour of a kind of mountain excavation site of some sort. Some weird phenomenons are going there. It's Genova, basically. And this is where Sephiroth, in this scene, he's done down in the library. He's read all of the books on his history, his own self. He's discovered who he is and how he was created. And it's all building up to this, the culmination of angst and anger. And this scene, he loses it pretty much. He finally decides, okay, I'm going to end this
That's
world. And it's the fire scene in Nibelheim with Sephiroth. And there's not going to be much sound, but all you need to know is it's the whole town of Nibelheim is on fire, and Sephiroth he has this, it's like the Monet painting. He has a certain smirk on his face. You can't quite tell though, and he's just walking through the flames as though he enjoys the destruction that he's made. And the music. I mean,
Yeah, the music
come
says it all.
on.
Yep. That's gonna be a dope one that they redo.
And he walks through the flames. He walks into the fire as though it's nothing. He is this destruction. And here's a retake on it that I believe this was out of Crisis Core or Advent Children, one of the two. When you see a character like that turn and walk into the fire like that, you just know they're evil.
Yeah, it's
what
pure evil.
It's just, it was such a great depiction of it, though. I loved it because normally in every movie that we see, at least, people are jumping away from fire. They're the explosions are getting out of the way. He walks into it, and it's just so ominous and evil. I love it.
You know what? So the Nibelheim scene is always interesting because Tifa's, the way that she's dressed up in that always reminds me of the Price is Right cliffhanger game.
Oh, that little the mountain hiker. It is 100%. Yeah.
Yep.
Stop, Bob! Stop! Don't go over the edge, Bob!
So that's
I'm going to apologize to all of our listeners.
that's what I always think of whenever I see her dressed up like
Yeah.
that, and I'm like, oh, look at this! This is so happy, and then that happens, like,
Oh, right,
maybe not.
Tifa. Sorry, your town gets.
Ooh, that's an unfortunate one.
Rough story.
So, sorry, Ross, that you've never watched Price is Right.
I've probably watched more Prices Right than you have.
Okay.
Scooter, you can vouch for me.
I mean, I'm just gonna
was
say, I feel like
always on at
all
your
of us, all of us have had a fair share of
We've
Price is
all
Right
watched a
in-
lot of
in
Price is
our
Right.
lives. So, anyway,
I know Bob Barker.
He's from Darrington.
I actually
Yeah, I
met
met
him.
him there.
Really?
No,
I did.
didn't. He did.
I really did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. Don't text surprised or dumbfounded. Don't worry.
Don't ask for an autograph.
Yeah.
That is a good scene though. It is ominous.
Oh, gosh, I love that scene.
The music does a great job of filling in any dialogue that is absent.
It's just dripping with evil. It sets up the rest of that game. You want to end Sephiroth.
Yeah, and that's the kind of the point in the story where you go, well, I know who the bad guy is.
Yeah.
If there was any-
if
If there's any question beforehand,
All right, what do we got?
So next, then I'm having a little hard time finding this because we're digging deep into the vaults of cutscenes here now.
Is it
Final Fantasy IV: Return of Iridia.
Yeah, so-
and now, okay, I need to preface this with I'm playing this game right now, and I haven't gotten to this part of the game. I thought
Spoiler
she was
alert.
gone, you guys. I thought she was gone.
Spoiler alert.
I know.
Well, here's a nice thing, Scooter. So I've already talked about this cutscene in
know,
a different
I
one, so
know.
I've already ruined it
I
in your
know.
subconscious. It's
I know.
there.
I know it is. Anyway. So what should I search for here for
You could search for
Return of Iridia?
Yeah, Return of Iridia.
Battle against Gomez or
Yep.
Return of Iridia? Okay.
Yep, right there. So
Here we go.
in this
Here's the next set coming up.
in this scene, in Final Fantasy 4 2, kind of depend on what country you are playing this in. Your crew is going up against Golbez, who is the bad guy. And there's 4 of you. You have Kane, you have Cecil, you have Rosa, and you also have Yang. And you're going up against Golbez, who, as far as you know, is the bad guy. And Golbez is pretty jacked at this point, and he has this shadow dragon that he summons from the depths. He's feeling pretty confident. And so first thing he does is he freezes everybody or paralyzes them. In the music in this one is necessary,
Let me pull
Scooter.
it up.
Yeah, because when you're fighting him in this spot right here, the organs, and it's very morose, and he summons this shadow dragon, and the thing starts using what's called demolish. It's like a rub or a death, and he just starts killing everybody who's paralyzed, and it's super easy. And he says farewell, Cecil, and he's about to kill him, and all of a sudden the party disappears. And then Mist, which is a
dragon from the beginning of the game.
Dragon from the beginning
mother of Rydia.
Yep, the mother of Rydia shows up.
So many spoilers right now for me.
And Golbez is like confused. He is dragon because the Mist dragon kills his shadow dragon, and he's kind of confused. And at this point, all of a sudden, boom, you're healed. And you okay? You can move now. And you're like, who is this? And you know who it's got to be. You know it's got to be Rydia, who was out of the party for a while.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, that music kicks up. And it's like, okay, it's time to go. It's time to fight.
Raise the party. Here we go.
Raise the party, get everybody back to life, and let's beat this guy. And I love the battle music in this moment. It's so good. But Final Fantasy IV did this a couple of times where it's like, oh, the power of friendship has saved the party. And I always thought that was cool, and I still do.
Good story.
It is, and it's super cool when she comes back. And when she comes back, she is really the first character in a Final Fantasy game which has changed her sprite from when the first time you saw her. Because when you first get her, she's super young.
Yes, true.
But she spent some time in like the land of the summons, and time works differently there, so she's way older when you get her. And she's also way more powerful. But when she comes back and just saves the party at the very last second, it's especially powerful because 2 of the people in that party that she's saving end up killing her mom. Unknowingly.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah. So that's my...
So we're just watching the rest of this fight. She's back.
Yeah, I mean, nothing else.
They're just going to town on Golbez.
Yeah, nothing else is going to happen in particular, but it is just a cool scene. I really enjoyed it, and like I've said in another podcast, I used to watch this before like track workouts in college to get jacked, and it'd get me all pumped up, like, oh yeah, like I'm here for the party, I'm here for my team, I'm gonna save da. So, really great scene, really enjoy it.
I'm just going to also say to you guys that I am enjoying every minute that I'm playing of number 4 so far.
Number 4 is awesome.
It is a great game. Yeah, it really is. All right. Thank you, Colin.
Oh, yeah.
For that one.
All right, here we go.
Who's up? Oh,
you know who it
Is this you, Ross?
So let me just say 2 words: Liberi Fatale. So this song is actually Nobuo Uematsu's first experiment, rather, of combining chorus and orchestra.
I didn't know that.
Which is really interesting. And then I didn't know a couple of these. So the main phrase from that song is actually an anagram. So Phthos, Lusek, Wekos, Vinosek is an anagram for succession of witches in love. So 2 of the main themes of the video game.
Really?
Yeah. It's
but it's in Latin though, isn't it?
It's in Latin,
It is.
and the whole song's in Latin. But like actually reading the English translation is kind of.
I've never done that actually.
I've never
before.
done that either until now.
Well, hey,
I'll
that's
just
why we
read
do the show.
I'll read a short take, essentially the Liberia Fatali. It's what that translates to is the fated children, which essentially is talking about the
orphans.
The orphans.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting, but it opens up. If you've not played Final Fantasy VIII, you've heard me talk about it by now.
Yes.
If you've listened to any of the episodes, I've probably talked about it at least once every single
we all
episode.
have,
So I
yeah.
apologize, but I don't care. Opens up, you're looking out over the ocean, and then opens up with that anagram: Vithos, Lusek, Wekos, Vinosek. Starts out really slow, and then it builds and it builds, and eventually you see Squall, the video game of Final Fantasy VIII's main protagonist, taking on Cypher, the antagonist or one of the antagonists of the game, in a duel of gunblades. And as you also know about me, I'm a huge fan of gunblades.
Yes, you are.
And it is an epic battle.
It sucks
happening in
right
the,
away.
the training area. Yeah, right away.
I mean,
and it is brutal. They're going after it. Like they.
at first, when I first saw it, I didn't know it was a training, and I don't think you know what I mean. Like you're not supposed to know if that's a real or just a training fight.
Yeah, and as you come to find out later in the game, I mean, not even later in the game, but the next scene of the game, you find out that both Squall and Cypher are arch nemesis or nemesis, and they are rivals, and they've always been rivals. And even though that was a training, they were fighting to the death.
You can see it in their faces.
You can see in their faces, and it just you feel it, and it builds up in this crescendo. And well, I won't speak anymore about it. I'll just let you hear it. Oh yeah.
I never really understood all the text that went along with this.
Yeah, I never understood the text either, but just
It's like random
There's a lot of Final Fantasy in
I'll
it.
be
Random
there waiting for you.
emo words.
It is a lot of random emo words.
I'll be here. Dot dot dot. It's like a conversation. It's like dialogue. Why?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's maybe like the one part of the.
I'll be waiting.
Well, don't ruin it.
I think it's also, I know that you said this, but I think it's important to say this one more time, is that this is an original piece.
Yes.
This is an original piece that was created for the sole purpose of this scene in this video game.
Yep.
And as far as music goes, it's pretty good.
I had to listen to this all the time to this day.
It's fantastic.
Like you're talking about what you listen to, like
Yeah.
the radio scene. I listen to this when I'm working out.
Yeah.
This is
So the vocals, original. The music being
Original.
composed, original.
Lyrics original, and it all has to do with the game.
Yeah. And it was designed only for the game.
Yes.
And it's Nobuo's first go at orchestral, like, you know, here's your gunblade fight.
Best intro of a video game ever.
Oh yeah. And this is 1998.
Yeah.
So over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Again, I love the clash of hard versus soft in these games. The feathers and the gunblades, you know, that whole.
And here's the crescendo. Oh man. If this doesn't make you want to grab a gunblade and fight,
Going at it now.
and just the twin scars that they give each other in this training match. Like we noted earlier, they were really trying to kill each other, and they almost did.
Ah, so cool. It's like Luke and Michael in college.
Oh, if only the listeners knew.
Love that. With the black feathers.
Oh, so good. And it's
mean,
got a
come
lot of
on.
lot of scenes from the video game that you are yet to encounter in that too. So it just gave you a preview of a lot of what you are about to
That's a
hear.
Good
Yeah.
one. I mean, the first time, and I've told you guys in the previous episode, the first time I saw that, it felt like a movie. It felt like a Disney or some big budget movie I was about to play, you know? And I got sucked into that one quick.
Yeah, that is it's such a good song by itself. Even if it was outside of a video game, you'd be like, I mean, Nobuo Uematsu's just good at what he does.
He's a mastermind.
Oh yeah. Oh man! All right, Scooter.
So for my second one, it's kind of a filler. Before we're not even halfway, so we've got some time. But this one's kind of a filler, so I'm just gonna play it without sound for a minute. Just to give a quick recap, though, there's a scene in Final Fantasy 15, the cutscene when you are on the train in the enemy territory, and Leviathan, one of the summons, comes out and saves you while you're fighting on the train. And it is just the coolest looking scene.
I've always loved Leviathan, just in general.
Yeah. I'll skip forward a little bit here.
Summons in 15 were also
they were something else. They really, really were.
Oh my goodness. They were just it was so impressive. It was a movie within themselves.
Oh yeah.
This bit right here.
You got Leviathan doing its thing.
It's just such a
love that.
a massive beast.
Water tornadoes everywhere. That was it. That's all I wanted to show.
It's so
short, sweet, and it's the animations in that game were just on such big, grand proportions, and watching that, can't do it justice over the audio world. But if you haven't played 15, you should at least Google the cutscenes, and then you'll go some
by
of the
15.
summon cutscenes in there. Yeah.
In the fact that the summon cutscenes were just, it was part of the game, and so other cutscenes have been good in other Final Fantasies, other summons, they've had cool cutscenes, but man, nothing quite like that. Nothing as smooth as that, and the music changes.
Yeah.
It's so cool. That summons in that one are just so fantastic. They do just such a great job.
So we've got 3 more each of our favorite cutscenes. I'm pulling them up right now.
I don't even remember what my other one is.
Well, I'm going to surprise you here in about 5 seconds, and then we're going to move on to our least favorites, which I think is going to be a real fun portion of the show.
Will it be?
Will we enjoy it?
I'm going to.
I know I'm going to enjoy it.
I mean, I don't know what you guys are going to enjoy, but here, talk amongst yourselves for half a second while I finish this.
There's so many cutscenes that I've already left out. And
name a few that we're not going to get to, because
one of them is the opening of 10.
Okay.
The opening of Final Fantasy 10. I mean, the Blitzball.
Oh yeah.
Like just like
or just
heavy,
walking around as the world is ending.
Okay.
Just a heavy.
While I get this going, the other scene's going here. Here you go.
Just a heavy.
Here you go. Opening of 10 while I get these.
The heavy guitar and just like the music, and Ty's just chilling, and it looks like a slum almost. You're not really sure what he's doing. This was when the PS2, first Final Fantasy game on the PS2.
Yep.
And so the graphics were like, oh my goodness. Am I watching a movie?
Oh yeah.
And he's getting ready for the Blitzball competition. And he's just got a heavy, like almost metal riff. He's about to, the Blitzball arena is filling up with water.
I just remember thinking right here, like, what is going on?
Oh, yeah.
When we first started playing this.
Just had no idea.
And then orange. Oh.
Yeah. And then you start seeing, you're seeing this really complex looking civilization. And then behind it, just this wave is coming up, like a huge tidal wave. and a guy's just there welcoming it, like not afraid of the imminent death that is right before him. And then you're introduced to this rugby-like underwater game
known as Blitzball.
that ish. Oh man. Oh, so cool. Even
And I love that when the gravity starts to give up.
Yeah.
The water out there, that footprint. Yeah,
stuff
love it.
and buildings start
Everything
getting
starts-
torn,
Yep.
and people aren't even noticing at this point.
I love
That music does a fantastic job of complementing the scene.
Yeah, it's futuristic, you know. It's a departure, especially from the last stuff we watched.
It's a great scene. Titus goes up to do his super
Jet
move.
shot.
Yep, to do his super move, and then he sees the monster, and it's like, oh, that's not good. And then everything starts getting destroyed. Fantastic scene. Great job of setting the tone for Final Fantasy X. It's unfortunate that they ruined it with Titus's voice acting.
Voice acting was good.
Didn't ruin the game, but
Yeah.
certainly made
That's
it
a good example.
certainly
of,
made it sound like a goofball.
Yeah. So, okay. So getting back to where we were though, in our immediate list. So Colin, surprise. Here you go.
The opera scene. Final Fantasy VI or Final Fantasy III in North America. The opera scene was kind of that playable cutscene. You had to do the right lines. You had to choose the right lines in order for the opera to go smoothly. You can just go ahead and play it, Scoot. And it was it's very iconic in the Final Fantasy world. This play that there's an opera and you have to play your part in this role. This has been something that's been one of the more famous Final Fantasy songs, and I know that actual operas have gone on and done this song. Now, obviously, in the 16-bit SNES version, they don't have any lyrics, but I have heard a few different times. I think Nobuo Uematsu does the Distant Worlds opera theme,
sure.
and it indeed does have the lyrics to it and has the voice and the professional opera singers doing it. So as you're going through, you have to choose the correct lines of the play or the opera in order for it to go correctly. And if it doesn't go correctly, then you have to do it again. So it's a really cool scene, even though it's just like a play and it's kind of like a side thing. I always felt like it really kind of advanced the series in a way of a cultural aspect and just the interaction and the things that you were able to do in the game. It's like, oh wow, there's this opera that's happening and I'm having to control and remember this as not a side game, but as a quest. I got to get this right. And it's always stuck with me and as an important cutscene. And it's just good. It's just a good cutscene. And then eventually somehow Ultros, this octopus, shows up and you have to fight him on stage, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. But the opera scene itself is just a cool one. Really enjoy it. It's got this like 16-bit dancing about it that we're watching right now. They really did a lot of great stuff with the ability of the sprites in Final Fantasy 3, North American 3, that they weren't actually able to do, or they didn't actually do in Final Fantasy 2. So even though you were still working with only 16 bits,
They made some advancements.
there were certainly some advancements in the character and the character's movements, facial expressions, body language, and this scene I feel like does a great job. And the music's really cool. I really like it.
No, this really is. I was gonna say, what it kind of reminds me of a little bit is at the beginning of number 9, doing that the dance or the play for the Lords, having to do the correct certain sequence where you got to do it again. There's a fight in the middle of it,
Yep.
This is obviously a little more heavy, if you will.
Yeah, it is. It's just good. So I always like 6. One of my favorite opera scenes. I remember I have my cousin Rachel and my aunt Noreen. They were like they were always big on Final Fantasy 3. That was like,
I still haven't played it.
oh dude, that
I'm
and I
excited.
remember they were always big on the opera scene, and I think that part of it as the gravity of the scene or the importance of the scene is reinforced on me in part because I just remember growing up and they were just like, this is the Final Fantasy, and the opera scene is the coolest. And I think I probably took a little bit away from that. Like, oh yeah, well, you're right. This is super cool.
I agree.
I agree, family.
I concur.
All right, Ross.
Thank you for that one.
Looks like I'm up.
I think
looks like
Ross
it
is next
is.
on the dock.
Oh, this is a
All
good
right,
one.
so I'll give it a little bit of a overview
preface,
here.
yeah.
So, at this point of the game, in Final Fantasy IX, Queen Braun's plans, her diabolical plans, have come to fruition with the help of Kuja, her diabolical servant. At this point,
Yeah.
and she has unleashed the power of Bahamut. Bahamut.
She controls Bahamut.
She controls Bahamut. And if you've played Final Fantasy, you know who Bahamut is. If you haven't played Final Fantasy, Bahamut is the king of dragons. Literally, he's the king of dragons. He is a force to be reckoned with in any Final Fantasy game.
Yes.
And he's being unleashed on Alexandria, one of the main cities in Final Fantasy IX. So essentially, he is the destruction of the city, he is laying waste, and it looks, things look grim. It's like, well, at this
There
point
goes
of
the
the
town.
game, there goes the town, and your party is definitely not strong enough to take on a Bahamut. So all hope seems lost, and then just out of nowhere, Alexander, the summon Alexander, arises from the town or the city of Alexandria to protect it, as it is its guardian.
It's something else to see.
It's something else to see, and it's essentially the city's protector and fends off Bahamut, and it's a pretty awesome scene.
It is. Here we go.
Give us that narration, Ross.
So, nighttime in the city of Alexandria, see these just ginormous angel wings come out from the Alexandria's castle, and a sword piercing the sky. And essentially, Alexander's wings encompass the city and act as a shield against Bahamut. The Bahamut unleashes this fireball and just does nothing. Alexander opens up the wings, it's ready to go, it's ready to battle. And although Bahamut is impressive, Alexander is essentially a city.
It's the counterpart to the evil strength that Bahamut has.
And Bahamut's on the run now, and Alexander is like, you are not getting away. And Alexander essentially defeats the beast through beams of light.
Holy versus
Yeah.
darkness. Yeah. That's a great scene. It is one of those scenes I remember watching going, holy moly.
You know, it's oh, go ahead. Scoop, sorry.
That is I not only want Bahamut as a summon again, of course, but I want Alexander as a summon, and you get him later.
You know, it's funny with Alexander is always there's never been I can't remember a time where Alexander's been the bad guy.
Yeah.
But Bahamut, like we talked about in the first one, Bahamut helps you.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy, and
Yeah.
he helps you
He's
in
an
some games.
advisor
He's
of
a
sorts.
enemy in others. I don't really understand.
The dynamic of his character.
Yeah.
Well, he's not really a bad guy in 9. He's being controlled.
He is always the king of dragons, and I feel like he always has different roles in every game. He's not necessarily bad or good. It's just
Well, and I mean, going back to D&D, he's actually lawful good.
yeah, that's the thing. In
There you
number
go.
11,
Yeah.
he's kind of good. There's a whole storyline with him in that one. Like, yeah.
And then even in number 9, even though Queen Braun is controlling Bahamut right there, you have the ability later on in the game with Garnet to relearn him, to be able to cast him again. So at some point, he becomes your summon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right.
All right, moving on. Let's get through these our favorites. This is the last of the favorite. Well, second to last of the favorites, and then we're gonna do least favorites and kind of close this up. Okay, guys, grab your tissues and stuff. This is. Let me just restart here. This is the Sending of Orin.
Don't stop.
But
Throughout this entire game, you didn't know
It's
that
all right.
Orin was an unsent.
Scooter, bring us through what's happening.
He's just looking through his whole party. He's saying his goodbyes. Yuna
It's
has to
been
perform the sending
enough.
of anyone that is unsent. And he has completed his mission. And this is his song on his way out.
This is your world now.
Man, a few words.
And off he goes to the far plane. I hated that scene. I loved it, but I hated it. I mean, it still gets me. I mean, I wanted Orin to be there the whole time, you know? And then realizing that he really wasn't there the whole time, in a way, it was, I don't know. It got you at the gut a little bit.
And Orin's just a character. Like, he not only is the Guardian, but he's a mentor. He's essentially Yuna and Titus's adopted uncle.
Yeah, yeah.
As I mean, both their fathers were friends with Orin way back when. So it's just like you're losing a family member, and he's one of the better characters.
No, he sure is.
of any one of the Final Fantasies.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm pulling up the next ones.
Yeah, that Orin one. Yeah, because he's so pivotal, and he's such an important character, and the 10 story is just weird,
Yeah.
as you come to find out. So, I mean, it makes sense why what happens and if you take a look at or if you just observe Orin the entire game, you realize, oh, okay, all right, well, now it's kind of like watching Fight Club for the
Yeah.
second time after you know what happens and you watching it. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I get it. That makes sense. That makes sense why he's doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sixth Sense might have been a better comparison since Orin's essentially Bruce Willis.
Oh man. All right.
Titus is Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah.
Cole, do you want to move us into our least favorites?
Are we not doing the?
Well,
Are we doing that one later?
we'll do that one last.
Okay. One of our least favorite for not for the reason that it's bad, but one of the, I guess, toughest to stomach, and that was in Final Fantasy VII, and I'm sure a lot of people already know exactly what this is going to be. And in Final Fantasy VII, at the end of Disc 1, you are on your way to the, you're in the Temple of the Ancients, and it's the famous scene with Aeris and Cloud
His
got
mind control.
his mind control. He almost kills Aeris as she's praying, and she kind of looks up, and then from behind comes big bad man Sephiroth, and probably one of the most shocking.
I love that though. That scene right here.
From above.
Yeah,
From above.
death from above.
I love that.
And yeah, it goes right through her stomach and
Or does it?
ends up killing Aeris pretty instantly.
Her eyes are open, Cullen.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just going with what I what I've been told.
I know.
So Sephiroth comes down, kills Aerith, one of a character who is a potential love interest of the main character, Cloud.
And the last of the ancients.
Last
and
of the
sword.
Ancients. Yep.
So,
Very, very
pivotal
important character. And then it has this little tune that is the Aerith theme as she is dying. And the holy materia is...
falls to the bottom of the lake.
Yep.
Yep.
And so she dies. Sephiroth's stoked. It doesn't all make a lot of sense because this happens all the time during the game. You just drop a phoenix down on them, and
Right, and we talked about that. But still, I remember seeing this scene, and I mean, it's another scene that sticks with you for
Absolutely.
emotional reasons, for sure. But
Steven Spielberg once said that something to the effect of, you'll know that video games have... Oh man, I'm gonna find it really quick while this is playing.
probably they've crossed that medium of, you know, into art or into. I think I know the quote that you're talking about. It has a lot to do with emotion, doesn't it?
It does.
And relating to the human experience. I mean,
He said, I think that the real indicator that games have become a storytelling art form will be when somebody confesses they cried at level 17.
yeah.
So,
Well, hey,
there you go. That's kind of...
this scene, the orange scene. I mean, at least for me, like
That's
All right,
powerful.
Steven, we got a game for you.
Yeah, got one for you, big cat.
and then you gotta fight him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's just, it's tough to watch that and then talk about it because you're watching it and you're like, oh yeah, I want
Yeah.
to watch this. I want
You're
to see
captivated.
it.
Yeah.
You're captivated. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Another worst one.
Least. All right. I think this is one of them. You got this one, Ross?
I do.
One of
So
Ross's favorites.
So this is no, but if this is the right one. Oh wait, which one is?
that's not the one up on the screen.
Oh, no,
but the one
no.
on your,
This one.
The
this
one on your screen is the right
This
one.
is the one I want you to do, if you don't mind.
Yep.
So
So-
here you go. Now this is the most famous of the worst cutscenes of Final Fantasy.
Yeah, and for our listeners, you know what I'm going to say? I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to let you listen.
Perfect.
I'm not going to describe it. I'm not
love
going to give
that
any
intro.
background.
This is-
I'm just going to let you listen to it.
Hey, watch.
Hey, you got pretty good.
You sound sad.
Great voice acting going on right now.
maybe.
Classic.
Want to scream?
I want to
I
scream.
really don't think that's gonna help this time.
You know what?
I knew at this part of the game though that I was so deep into it, I
It's
just had to get
embarrassing
through
to
this
say
stuff.
this myself, but summoners and their guardians are kind of like Spira's ray of
And I
light.
really enjoyed the game at this point, so it's like,
A lot of the people in
I'm not going to be
Spira
turned off by
depend on
one
us.
scene, but
I know.
this
I learned
this scene was the
To
one I
practice
definitely
smiling.
skipped through when
When
I
I'm feeling sad,
downloaded
you know.
the X and X2 compilation on PlayStation
I know
3.
it's hard.
This is one of those scenes that really makes it makes you
I
go,
understand.
I wonder if this game would have been better if there was no voice acting.
I think.
Right.
You don't need to do everything. You
Yeah.
don't need to
Right.
do everything to make a good game. You don't
Come
have
on.
to have voice acting to make a good game.
Ah,
It's like if you know, it's
I agree with you. Even like with these games, I still play with the subtitles, so I
yeah.
agree with you. You don't need to have voice acting to have a good game.
No. I don't even know what he's doing right here.
A lot of
this is weird.
This is weird.
Next, try laughing
I
out loud.
feel uncomfortable.
What?
Do you feel uncomfortable, Titus?
Come
Because I
on,
feel
show me.
uncomfortable.
So just asked her to laugh. Oh, it's painful.
It's like no wonder your father didn't like you.
He saw this in the future. Ugh.
Orin's like, get me out of here.
This was a real cringeworthy
You
moment in the
probably
game.
shouldn't laugh anymore.
Kamari's like, okay.
All right, make the bad man stop.
Just this one. Just this. Yep.
Ugh. All right.
All right, that's enough. If I need to explain that to the listeners why that is bad, then
I'm letting it ride. And they try and act like it's nothing.
Too funny.
Too funny.
Your idea.
it is this point of the podcast where everyone stops listening.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That's why we saved it for the steep end.
Yeah.
So
I want my journey.
All right.
That's-
Yep.
that's the
That's a
laugh
rough
scene.
one.
I want
That's
my last 5 minutes back, Una, but I'm not going to get it. So.
that's
Yeah.
the famous laugh scene. Let's see.
infamous.
Infamous, I should say. Okay. So the weirdest two that we have left, we have.
What can I do for you?
Okay, let me just pull up one more, and it's also out of number 10, actually.
Is this the one that I put on there?
Yeah. So
So it's actually, it's honestly, it's a weird scene, but it's if it's,
oops.
oh man,
Sorry.
little dance club music.
Let me see if I can find it.
Not only is Scooter our producer of this podcast, he's also a DJ in his spare time.
Is it X2 or?
Oh no, it's X,
right?
Yeah,
Which one is it?
it's 10.
What? I'm familiar with Roman numerals.
Yeah, you know X.
What scene is it?
Ross, it's at the wedding scene. Is
Yeah,
that
it's
right?
the wedding scene. Yeah,
So let me just grab that then.
it actually develops into a good scene because that when Titus and the rest of the squad are going in to save Una, that's actually a pretty epic.
This is it right here. Yep.
Little showdown there. But prior to that, the wedding scene between Una and Seymour. And Seymour, at this point of the game, he's dead. And then just Una has to kiss this dead guy. And it's just like, when you think about it, like, Seymour's been deceased for weeks, or at least for quite a bit of time now. Like,
A bit of time.
For a bit of time.
He's a
He-
corpse walking around, basically.
rigor mortis should have set in and then gone away by now.
And so I hate to skip through some of this, Ross, but we're getting towards the end of the episode.
Skip on
so
through.
I'm gonna just
Get to the part just that makes you kind of, it's like, yeah, it makes your skin crawl a little bit.
getting around here, isn't it? Or did they already do it? The whole wedding scene.
And no, they didn't do it yet.
Okay, so continue.
Continue.
Seymour just looks
yeah.
like a dingus.
Continue further than that.
Sick skateboarding.
They're gonna go save them.
Oh yeah, nice flip, homeboy.
That's Titus.
Keep going, yeah.
Oh yeah, keep going.
Just
Yep.
let me know.
It's right about. Oh, stop.
Right around here.
It's right around there. It's like,
Ross, give us a play-by-play.
well, Titus and crew have come to save Una. They got stopped in their tracks. Seymour is going to get married to Una. If
It's gonna happen.
it's gonna happen.
Yevon is.
Yevon's
making
gonna
this
make it happen. Yevon, the evil religion, is gonna make it happen.
You would play at marriage just for a chance to send me?
And Seymour's
Your
creepy.
resolve
He is
Like
creepy.
even before this, he is
All
creepy.
the more fitting to be my lovely wife.
Yeah, he's a weird dude.
And so she wants to send him because he's an unsent, a dead
Yes.
person, kind of like Orin. Again, a corpse running along the world that nobody seems to care about.
And we
but-
might have actually skipped past the
this
kissing
guy.
scene,
Okay,
but
that's what I
it's
was-
not a big deal. I mean,
before, like it's somewhere.
it's somewhere over here. It's right here. Yeah.
Smoochy, smoochy.
Again, for the listeners that are listening in, I mean, and
Just
they can't see,
imagine.
just imagine the creepiest guy you know, the creepiest guy.
Imagine if he died about a month ago, and he's still just kind of walking around.
And he's just gonna smoochy smooch this young, beautiful girl. And it's just
bride,
like,
all dressed up nice.
ugh.
There you go.
It's like, you don't want to watch that.
No, you don't. Yep.
That's
That's a rough one.
It's weird.
One
That's
of
a
those
rough one.
scenes. All right, you guys, you wanna end it on a good note here?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, let's do this.
One of the best Final Fantasy scenes.
This one makes you feel emotion. This is one
This does. This one hits you right in the old feelers.
Spielberg, and then also I remember. Let's see who else criticized video games.
Who else wants a knuckle sandwich?
Yeah,
All right. So in this scene,
Roger Ebert. That's right.
Oh.
He was all about no emotions.
He retracted that. But yeah.
Well, too late.
so
Colin set us up.
earlier in the game, Vivi, he's your black mage, and he's this. It's really tough to describe. He's this kind of this manufactured little guy, and he's very kind. He's very unsure of himself. He's very insecure. He's trying to figure out where he kind of fits into this kind of crazy world where really nobody looks like him until he sees people that look like him all doing bad things. And he is kind of freaked out by that because he doesn't want to do bad things. He doesn't want to hurt people. But these things want to hurt him. So he is on this ship and he sees these things that look just like him, hurting people and killing people. And his face is really just a black orb with a couple of yellow eyes. And just with that, the facial expression that he is able to convey or is able to show conveys a lot of emotion considering it's two yellow eyes and a totally black face.
And the emotion that is conveyed in this scene is the transformation of his character. It's a pivotal point where he decides, hey, I am no longer just going to stand up or take things sitting at the sideline. Yeah. I'm going to step up and protect my friends because I'm the only one that can do it at this point because they're all down and out. So I have to do something.
Play that bad boy.
And here you go. They're getting chased.
They're getting chased right now. They're in their ship, and one of the
Black Waltz.
One of the Black Waltz who looks like just the more dangerous version of cute Vivi starts destroying all these things that look just like Vivi, look innocent enough,
and he sees all of it, and he is just mortified.
He is sad. He's sad, and these things are falling out of the sky, and they're dying,
and they're him.
Yeah, they're essentially him. They're like his friends. Well, could be his friends.
No, he doesn't know.
And then he just feels sad. And I feel sad.
And here comes the big daddy.
Yep.
Who's also just like Vivi himself.
Yep.
So he's got all these conflicts going on.
He does. But Vivi's surrounded by some good people. He's got some great friends. He's not feeling too good about life right now, but
he's still contemplating all of it. And then right at the moment where they're all being chased and they're about to be destroyed and attacked,
Vivi comes to, uses his fire, and blows up the other ship.
and then
I like his
passes
pants.
out.
He's got cool pants.
Those are like hammer pants. MC hammer pants.
Oh yeah. So that's a really great scene.
It was just a great scene of a pivotal point for a character.
Yeah.
At that moment, you could see it in them, and as a cutscene goes in this series of Final Fantasy, that was an early cutscene where you could actually see the character climb, or the character arc. You could see it happen. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's such a great scene, and the climax again when the bad ship blows up and it runs into the wall, and you guys escape, and everything's gravy. I mean, it was a great point early on in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
stuck with you.
That was, I feel like that show I feel like this podcast like just overstimulated me. Like I'm trying to watch, I'm trying to analyze, I'm trying to talk, and I'm trying to like remember, and just so much.
Overwhelmed.
We've
Yeah,
done
it's
a lot in
overwhelmed.
an hour.
I mean,
We've
that
done
was
a lot, but we did it. We made it. We made it through the cutscene episode.
Yeah, we made it through some. I know that we'll probably leave here and go, you know what one we didn't do?
Yeah.
You know what one we forgot?
Oh, that's gonna happen.
And that's it. That's except Ross, who knows
Yep.
those were his.
Those are my top 3.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, he hasn't played all the Final Fantasies either.
Well, not all of them have cutscenes.
I only play ones that have cutscenes. All right. Well, gosh, I don't know what we're gonna be doing next time. Maybe we'll do the next one at my place once I get everything set up.
That'd be great. That would be great. Yeah.
Come on up to the man. This one sounds like I don't know what one this is, and
airship thing. But yeah.
There's a this sounds like if you were to ever play Legacy of the Wizard on NES. I'm gonna have you pull that up after this. It sounds like this right here.
Oh,
Anyway, so next time you'll hear us. I don't know where we'll be. We'll be somewhere. So
We'll be somewhere in the world.
it's been real.
It's been fun.
It's been real fun.